Welcome back to Berlin for the deciding game between H2K and G2. Everything on the line here for both of these lineups. G2 looking to remain undefeated in series. H2K looking to pick up that all-important win against G2 in the cross-group play.
A super important matchup for them. And G2 right now, they had the side choice. So they like the blue side. It just gives you way more flexibility in terms of draft. Because early on in the season, we came in and we're like, oh, that
red side,
man, looking strong right there. Turns out that due to the balance of certain specific champions, a lot of the strength of red side pick bans.
As it might.
Yeah,
I'd seen.
Slight imbalances. Some of those champions right there, they become perma-bans. And then it becomes much easier to draft on blue side.
I feel like that through history has so often been the story of red side, always forced to kind of be more reactionary.
The world's meta game, League of Bruisers. Definitely want to be blue side.
Gangplank, Mordekaiser.
Darius.
Darius, a classic.
Yep, I always have to like stress that like pronunciation because people think I'm saying Dyrus. Yep.
Dyrus not permabanned.
No permaban.
No permaband.
Still
for
playing
Dyrus.
League Legends.
Still allowed to play. Good guy. Of course, getting ready here. We are waiting to get to picks and bans here. We do have a few minutes away, I do believe.
Yeah, the players are basically just talking over what they're going to do in the next game because there was such a stark contrast, right? Game 1, it looked so good for H2K, but then probably right now I was talking to his team and his guys like, you did well. I would almost say it was almost perfect.
So,
right, Jacobs?
When I'm tilted, should I say I'm tilted or should I like physically tilt
I think you
my
carry
body
on like
sideways?
a true professional.
Like a true professional. You're right, Crepo. It was almost a perfect game. It's great that you noticed that.
But Perks is smiling. He just walked over. He gave me a little wave here. Dehan Expect is also smiling. So looks like G2 is in good spirits right now. They came out of the gates slightly before H2K do.
And I mean, good to see, especially from Perks. That Perks is in a good mood. So often a player that kind of gets caught up in the emotion of the game, gets kind of torn down when he has the bad games. But deep breath there from him. Focus now as we move to Game 3. And I think a lot more pressure than these teams expected this early in the season.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's just a lot of expectations for G2 Esports. And on the side of H2K, they would have liked to be slightly higher in the standings as well. They're looking very, very stern. A lot of the times when they come back kind of from their talks, they're very focused, which is a good thing, but it could also lead to kind of negativity if things go poorly, you know? So I hope there's no communication shutdown right there. But that's obviously massive speculation. You'd have to dive into the comms to truly analyze that. Definitely interested to see what this game is going to bring. And if we're going to see any adaptations in terms of picks and bans, because G2, they had a decent draft Game 1, so did H2K. It was both sides were playable. There's no stark contrast. H2K chose that Azir kind of game that you can do versus weaker teams, but they kind of got pushed around on the map most of the time. And it was actually macro play that led to the demise of H2K in Game 1.
It's interesting, too, how vastly different the drafts were.
Oh, yeah.
H2K taking Ivern off the board changed, it felt like, a lot of the available compositions and the viability that we'll see from them.
I just think agency on Feverman is important because the way he's been performing so far in the split has been at least parallel, if not better, than Perks.
I mean, obviously, this is a pretty good deciding game to figure that out. We are now approaching picks and bans, about to get things started. Malzahar already taken away from G2 Esports, a lot similar to what we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, G2 have no reason not to switch up the pick and ban here, so it's going to be, again, the double support ban out here. So Mithy does not have to play Misfortune. We now figured out the reason why.
Perks is smiling. Now we get it.
Yeah, you don't want to play Misfortune. You want to play Misfortune into these two champs, but otherwise you don't kind of have to pick her. And that's G2 solving the problem right there.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of banning Misfortune as well by taking away all the matchups she wants to be played into. Camille taken off the board this time around, but leaves open H2K to ban something else. And G2 already mixing it up in picks and bans.
I mean, didn't they do this Game 1? Or was this Game 2 that we saw the blue side Camille ban?
We saw the blue side Camille ban twice now, Games 2 and 3, because Game 1 it got through. Game 2 it got into the hands of its
obviously, it's being played smart. Great color caster right there, Crepo.
I think given my track record, you probably get one today. You probably get at least one.
Yep, tying it up right here. Will we see, so the Ivern over Kazakhstan. I love the evolution of this metagame, and I can't wait for people to kind of catch on in other regions here as well.
Like it too. Means the trick. Taking his time thinking about this one, but the Kazakhs is the most powerful jungle pick remaining. However, it's very defining as
Jace
a pick
is over
overall.
too, though. And people are so used to playing to the Kazakhs after weeks of it being open that maybe they just come looking for a really strong matchup. This is a pick that G2 played, I think, a few times at Worlds as well. They definitely were scrimming it. Expect is, I think, a good Jace player to watch.
I mean,
can he do it against Odoamne, who's just a solid tank player?
When we saw him at Worlds build a lot of early leads. Did they transition into anything? No, but that was more, it felt like an issue for G2 across the board rather than an issue for Expect specifically. So he's no stranger to the Jace pick, as you mentioned. We have seen it flexed once or twice. Maybe it goes into the hands of Perks.
Ooh.
But H2K, they like the way Nuclear
Yeah,
played.
Nuclear. We're seeing some personality come out in this draft here. They're rating Jhin over Varus, despite Varus being such a prominent pick in terms of lane dominance. They're so confident in these deadly flourishes. And again, the Rise here too. Just going back to game 2, what worked for them in the draft? Which champions were comfortable and led to success? They completely go by the Kazakhs to pick up 2 comfort champions here. I like it, especially from a snowball perspective.
Well, once again, we're looking at G2 Esports, and they're already starting to build a composition without CC that does not have the luxury of falling behind. And H2K already have the tools that they built a lead with in Game 2. So from the perspective of H2K, this seems great for exactly what you want to play.
But this time they're playing the Jhin without the Zyra, and Zyra is a lot of the setup there. The plans will always tag somebody so you can get the deadly first to land. So we need to see what Che will end up playing here. If it's just a Karma, it may be much harder for them to solidify and lock people down.
Interesting as G2 go for the hovers over here, but we'll resist the temptation to talk about it. There's still a lot of 80 carries on the line, but that is going to be the Sivir.
That's super interesting to rate Sivir over Varus here. And you know what? We don't need poke. We don't need the kind of siege potential that Varus brings. We're just going to go for a lane comfort pick here. No more deadly flourishes.
And this is incredibly interesting to me because so often the mobility of Sivir is so effective at getting tanks into the back line. The mobility of Sivir paired with the Jace, that's insane mobility between the acceleration gate, but what is it giving to you?
Oh, you could play 1-3-1 much faster too. Remember, Sivir used to be really strong, not because she delivered the Maokai to the backline, but because you could also just always react to a side lane much faster. In a 1-3-1 composition, if G2 draft a really strong side laner in the mid, basically a mid lane champion that performs well in side lanes in the mid game, then they can play a really solid 1-3-1 here as well.
H2K have now picked up the Rumble as well, so we see their solo lanes or potentially jungle picks starting to unfold. Fan priority will be on the mid lane.
Yeah,
kind of calling out the Jace. They say, we know you want to put the Jace top. We'll start.
Oh, it's still, yeah, it's still flex, of course. We always forget to mention that. It's implied. And it could actually do okay into the Rise matchup. So that is also why this Jace pick is just so strong.
Having the luxury of knowing, I mean, because even then, the beauty of this, like the kind of the complex nature of this picket ban is that Rumble can go in the jungle. Maybe H2K get a favorable top lane matchup. Maybe G2 now pick a mid lane. Maybe they pick a top lane.
Yeah, and if they want more
teams.
CC with the Sivir, they can just still pick a tank in the top lane for Expect, which has been historically kind of the way G2 started playing when they were under pressure.
Yeah. I mean, 4 Shen games, 4 wins up until that last game for coming in for Expect. Maokai, Rumble, a little bit of Poppy, a Jace here and there, but mostly the tanks coming in on his court.
Yeah, the double focus on Perks here. Removing Cassiopeia, Syndra, good matchups into the Rise. Is G2 going to go for the double ban on Jankos here then? Nocturne and then Rek'Sai after Jankos revealed that was his favorite pick?
Or are they more scared of the Lee Sin, the playmaking potential from the kick coming out? But, I mean, we saw what the Rek'Sai does, the setup it offers, and the ability to interrupt the little bit of CC that G2 did have.
Prey Seeker is really good to set up Deadly Flourish as well. They're going for the Nami counter pick. Okay.
Interesting. Nami, of course, kind of lane
dominant. It's really annoying to play Sivir to Nami because you never want to waste Spell Shield on a W harass. And Nami, if you don't really like playing the champion yourself, and you want CC if you're G2 on your support, H2K, they don't need to draft like CC, targetable CC or anything on their support, so they could just pick up the Nami for the lane victory. And I think that's what G2 just want to avoid.
Are picking the Tahm Kench instead, so content to forfeit the range lane advantage that something like a Karma would provide, instead ensuring the safety and also a little bit more mobility across the map. You have the Rise, you have the Tahm Kench.
Tough matchup to play though. War of Attrition definitely hits you where it hurts. I wonder what Nuclear or Shade Rodder's skill build is going to be. If it actually goes to Viral level 2 or Thick Skin. We'll see. Probably draft isn't a relevant place to talk about that, but it's just it's the little things that interest me in that Tahm Kench pick.
Very heavily could affect the way that the bot lane unfolds. Choose between saving your life and saving the life of your AD carry. What aggression do you expect to find in that early laning phase? But it will be the Jace in the mid lane as Maokai is locked in on the top side of the map.
Yeah, now the power of the Rumble flex comes out. Rumble doesn't sound like a champion you want to juggle into Kha'Zix, so we're most likely looking at Rumble top here, which is fine into Maokai.
How many champions are there that you really want to jungle into Kha'Zix right now, though?
I mean, probably Ivern and Rengar. 2 at least, which is why they're banned all the time.
Definitely fair.
Probably okay with Camille.
Well, opted not to ban the Rek'Sai, opted not to ban the Lee Sin. It will be the Rek'Sai that remains higher priority on the side of H2K. Very similar composition to what we saw last game, the major difference being the Zyra for the Tahm Kench.
But this composition is so catered to 1-3-1. It's actually, there's so many pseudo globals in there as well. You have the actual global in teleport from Odoamne. You're no longer playing against the Shen here. You have Yankas who can become a split pusher himself or relocate to these lanes with his ultimate. And then you have the Tahm Kench ultimate that is not only so strong for mid lane to go to the side lanes, it also protects the 3-man unit pretty well in the mid lane because you can dodge pickoffs with a Devour and then sacrifice yourself. So H2K, super strong 1-3-1, but if they collapse, also super strong team fight. So a lot of flexibility in draft.
I mean, I look at the H2K team comp. We understand this one. We've seen it work. We saw it work for H2K last game. They've added more mobility. They've taken off a little bit of pick potential here. And overall, this looks really strong for them. And G2, once again, have drafted what appears to be a very difficult composition. Once again, very CC light.
So G2 can match 1-3-1 if Perk starts snowballing. If he gets behind, they have to kind of group up and siege. That is kind of the separation right there. Because obviously Perk's not playing with a global, but if he's super strong, he can just play on a side lane. Problem is he can always get picked off then by the Tahm Kench, by the Rek'Sai. 2v1, you can always take down a Jace.
Once again, so much mobility. The global is coming out, as you mentioned before, meaning that he's really never going to have the man advantage when he wants it. Short of some outmaneuvering on either side. You've seen the Twitter hashtags. You know where to vote, and I'm guessing you have some pretty strong opinions after those first 2 games. So share them with us at LOL Esports. Because this is game 3, ladies and gentlemen. G2, will they remain undefeated? H2K, can they find the win here?
And this would be a super strong victory for them as well. In cross-group play, if you could take out the first place team in the other group, you get such a big boost in the standings for yourself because it's so unlikely that many more teams within your group will do the same thing.
This is the only time they're going to see each other as well until playoffs if both teams are able to make it, which at this point looks very likely for both lineups after those first 2 games that we saw. G2 going for an aggressive early play here. No vision.
Well, I like this because there's been so much bot contests these days that you can actually just sneak in.
Nuclear's playing footsie, but he doesn't know that there's more coming up behind him. Is going to make it out in the end, though. So nice pathing coming in from Nuclear to walk right back to lane.
Yeah, Odoamne can immediately react as well. Just go into the enemy jungle, knows that it's just not the top laner in the jungle, so this is kind of barren. And now H2K need to figure out, do we want to cheese, yes or no? Looks like they're just going for a little ward.
Now pulling out, of course, early game, once again, so crucial for the G2 lineup. We have the picks like Jace, like Kha'Zix, who want to snowball, who want to get ahead.
G2 is also aware of this. They just pinged out the potential ward location, so both teams know they're playing with information, and they've also given up information to the opposing team. Now the trick for H2K right now for this lane is to lose it gracefully. That is their goal. They need to make it so that somehow G2 overpush. Because if G2 suddenly get 1 creep ahead all the time, it's going to be really hard for Nuclear to CS very well.
Well, Nuclear as well. I mean, last game was kind of the outlier for him and Che playing what we can safely say is hyper-aggressive. They are much more willing to play conservatively. So it feels like, while it is a lane disadvantage, it fits much more comfortably into what we saw in weeks past.
Yeah, and this is why Sven is not just kind of AFK hitting these creeps, as you would expect. You really want to keep the wave as neutral as you can when you play double range versus melee.
Maybe looking for that freedom, I assume, to kind of find the harass, to really maximize the advantage that you get from that range.
Yeah, you definitely need to get an advantage. Then you force Nuclear to use all his spells on the minions as well, and you can't trade, and especially on level 2. But at this point, they're over-pushing, so they might as well push into the turret and make him lose CS.
Sven picking up just about all those. 12 on the second wave. Perfect CS. Well, let's see if Jin can do the same.
Gives a window for Karma to invade as well. Just get a little ward, find Jankos, because they know where he started. He didn't get a leash on bot side, top side leash, if I remember correctly. So they know he would be on his blue buff right now. He doesn't have to take it though. It's a good thing. He can just hand it over to Feven later.
Sees Karma return to lane, takes his opportunity to invade, to figure out where Trick is at. And once again, Trick taking the slow clear means he doesn't have the double buffs.
Jankos investing a lot in this play. If this backfires, Trick will snowball ahead in the jungle, but he could break the momentum in his bottom lane.
Level 2. Mantra used. Gonna try to get out. Mithy locked up. The Chain CC not gonna quite land. They're maybe looking for the Devour here. Heal goes up. Spell Shield to try to block it. That's 2 stacks. First blood. The crit comes in from Nuclear. It's a good start, but it's not over yet. TP moving in. Maokai wants to deliver him. Tom Kench says no. Kha'Zix is here as well. What's going to happen? Expect getting burned down to nothing. H2K popping off.
Oh, another risky play here from H2K, but it pays off big in the fact that they get Mithy, and then the communication breakdown again. Nobody's talked about Devour still being up. Expect goes in for the hero play because he needs to find a kill quick before Odoamne gets there, because there was about a 1 second difference in terms of TP launch times, and then Devour was up. Look at this again. So slight communication error in that the fact that Jankos is going for flash knockup because W misses. Really good exhaust from Shade, slows down Mithy enough that the last big crit right there is enough to take him down. Then there's a full second on the teleport. So Expect is thinking right now, let's get a kill real quick. And the reaction time on Shade's Devour, super well played here. Trick comes completely too late.
And of course, Sivir only level 2. Has the spell shield, has the ricochet as well, not even a boomerang blade to back up the damage there. Trick comes late as well. This is disaster for G2.
And it's so hard to predict that gang, because if you're... he just wants to deny this. Because it's actually good, because if Jankos goes over the wall onto that plant, he can jump to Krugs.
I mean, it looks cool. That's all I was worried about.
It's a really good deny on the last one. But the problem right there is if you look from G2's perspective, right? Karma invades enemy Rek'Sai, about to start blue buff. Walks away. So you expect this Rek'Sai to kind of match the pacing in the jungle to then do the blue buff, which means you're safe from ganks for a while. This Rek'Sai then invades your jungle, doesn't contest the Kha'Zix, and immediately swings around, ring around Rosie to bottom lane. It's so unexpected to do that.
I mean, a high-risk, high-reward play. And H2K are known for clean games, not for risk games, not for these high-risk plays. But Jankos is the man. He takes the risk, and it's huge for this team now. Yeah,
I mean, it's just a super smart play, because I even think if it misses, obviously if he dies, it's really bad, but it generates a lane lead in a rough matchup here.
And then Perks trading back and forth. Nature of the matchup gets the Thundering Blow for the disengage. This one even, but every other lane pretty weighted in one side or the other. Bot lane, the bad matchup somewhat mitigated, and top lane continues to be dominated by the Rumble here.
Because now they have much more freedom to trade. There's no item advantage. Both AD carries still in lane, so they don't have enough raw damage. Support game back with a little bit of health and control wards. Odoamne comfortably slightly ahead again.
Happy spot to be, and once again, it's not the Camille game we saw in game 1. Whatever lead Odoamne builds will stay with him for the rest of the game. Continue to be relevant.
Yeah, Trick again is in a situation where he can't gank any lanes. Really, he can go for top, because that's the only lane with CC, but it's so hard to actually gank a pushing Rumble if he has a bit of vision around.
Yeah, you can see Pings going into the blue buff area, maybe hoping to find someone out, as this one is donated over to Febivin.
Yeah, that's what comes from the back end of that play. Not only did he go for the super aggressive play, it actually delays the blue buff enough, so at a really good opportunistic time, Febivin can take it and start swinging the matchup earlier.
Really, the only good point for G2 is they have a slight experience advantage in their favor, but even their jungle is now lit up. It's going to be so easy to find that Kha'Zix.
Yeah, because they can find a Kha'Zix on the next blue buff, which means if Febivin pushes in right here, there could be a world where they actually contest enemy blue buff, deny it from the Jace.
And things are just so good for H2K right now. I mean, 1,000 gold lead, 1,300, 2 kills in their favor.
I'm looking to strike back here. Trick knows that the only lane he can safely gank is one with CC. Odoamne is playing on the edge of perfection, on the edge of safety. Really get baited in here. Expect trying to lure him in.
Oh no, but look at Febivin, who's actually getting baited in.
Well, now the Oscar has to go to Expect if he can pull this off. But you just don't win 2v2, that's the problem.
I mean, it's a level 7 Rise, a level 6 Rumble. Kha'Zix does not have the Evolved Claws yet.
Purge is looking for the cross map here, chip damage on mid, but he can't because he doesn't know where Rek'Sai is. So again, everybody moving the pieces on the board, hoping for an opening somewhere.
G2 aggressive to try to find it, but H2K are keeping up this time around. Team, it feels like H2K is getting so much, I want to say, better over the course of the series, more consistent in their decision making, no longer taking, or just kind of letting G2 bleed them out, instead taking the driver's seat, being the team to find these early advantages.
Not drafting Azir.
Not drafting Azir, huh?
It all adds up.
You're telling me if you draft early game champions that you do things in the early game?
Let's not call Rise an early game champion, shall we?
I mean, definitely we can say more than Azir, though.
Wow, he scales super well. I think Rise is just a better champion.
That's fair. I mean, I was just saying he can push, he can trade. May not win the early game, but he doesn't just kind of like give it up in the same Azir Sand Soldier fun that occurs in the first 20 minutes.
Really good strong trading patterns, you know, throughout the entire game. Ultra late game Azir is really annoying to play against. All right, enough about Azir. Teleport used. Odoamne could base and maybe run back to lane, eat a CS deficit, and play with TP advantage to then use the maybe double walk over global. You know, Rise ultimate plus Rek'Sai path into the bottom lane. If they can surprise and arrive behind G2's bot lane, they can actually do a lot of damage because you can teleport to tunnels, for example, so you don't even need a ward behind them.
But they've got lackluster vision control. Fev have been taking a bad trade in the mid lane. We got to keep our eyes on the bottom side because we have to be ready for this play.
Yeah, because exactly that's what they're doing right here. Odoamne saves his teleport because of the push. That's the nature of Rumble as a champion. If you have good vision set up and you can push freely, you can force expect to use his teleport. Right now, this is a tough position to be in if you're H2K's G2's bot lane ladder. They really make sure they have no wards behind them whatsoever.
Ooh. Nice trade though on a nuclear. That will make things a little bit easier. Sven stepping forward is locked up. Curtain call going to come out. To expect some body block to come in here from Mithy, especially on that fourth shot. Does just opt to take the creeps instead, so mitigating the pressure that G2 have put down.
They're looking for a reset. That's all they need. Some beating room because they took a really bad trade. So Jankos might just come in here to help them push up. But even 3v2, Sivir Karma just have so much control. So Che's actually looking to deliver him with ultimate, but even then the play is too slow, and they'll just waste too many resources. So H2K right now are put in the bind, mostly because Ven and Mithy playing much better than they were in game 2.
Much cleaner this time around. No more getting caught out on the misfortune pick. Zyra taken off the board. Trick also level 7. Decent XP lead over.
You heard the Tahm Kench ultimate, and that's why we see Sivir ultimate. Che used it behind. It gets neutralized. Trick is on the dragon here. Mithy and Sven just zoning out Jankos, forcing him to hopefully disengage. They're just keeping them busy. They don't really actually want to fight. They just want G2 Trick to take this dragon alone. And this is where H2K will be a little bit disappointed when they hear the dragon die right now.
Not all they wanted. Trying to find a big advantage there, taking some risks on that play, and it does work against them in the end. Ocean Drake, 10 minutes into the game, will be very good for these lanes.
And this is the Sven and Mithy that we're used to seeing. 3v2, they're dodging a gank, putting some pressure, fake fighting forward, and now Expect is looking for redemption.
Trying to find a way in, not going to get it. Flash out from Odo, though. Flash traded from Expect.
All right, double flashes, and they're negating the teleport advantage. Just 2 more minutes, and at that point, the sacrifice that H2K made in the top lane by not going for the CS and the push pressure is completely negated by G2.
Fevin contemplating a roam to the top side as the Maokai has pushed in very heavily, but Perkz ready to follow him, ready to roam out. The lane is even at this point. We'll just now reset. They see now the vision on the top side. Perkz taking an aggressive path back in, but that shock blast damage, making it easy for him to find those small trades.
Yeah, because he knows where the enemy jungler here is. Che bases, goes to top lane. I think he has been pinged down on a ward.
One more vision coming in now. We kind of wait with bated breath. Where's the Tahm Kench going to go? Can he get in? Because Perkz is behind enemy lines. But so is the Tahm Kench. Odoamne now in trouble. They're going to dive under the tower. Tahm Kench might not be able to do much about that. Che going to look for the 3 stacks. Going to look for the Devour. Can he put him back into the tower? It's not going to matter. Creeps are there in the end. Expect just going to waddle his way on out. Che wants to get something, but just doesn't have the damage.
Oh, that's a super good counter by G2. They saw Che wander to the jungle because I saw a few pinks at least, but they set up the dive. Perkz is continuously been pushing mid with that Jace and then disappearing into Fog of War. It's basically instilling fear in H2K's hearts every single time he disappears. He could be top, he could be taking a jungle, it could be anywhere. So this vision is actually working against them in the top lane. False sense of security.
G2 manipulating the information. Mithy, though, may be the one who's caught out here. Rise is going to go in, not quite fast enough, though. Perkz on the side. Goes in.
Oh, that's Ham.
Oh, that's 2 Ham. Exhaust goes down. They're going to be able to burn through Perkz. They have the TP there to back it up. Perkz goes way too in.
What is he thinking? Like, I want to try and get in the mind of Perkz right here. How is this a good play? You only have 2 members near you. Sivir wasn't close. Like, you're still playing against Tahm Kench, who is incredibly good against melee champions that get 3 stacks onto them. They do get teleport advantage for this, but they're losing pressure mid. So G2 can neutralize this mistake because of the way kind of league works with teleport advantage, but they need to do it quickly though, because otherwise Odoamne will just keep pushing top right now. That's his goal right now.
Yeah,
Let's push this again.
one more time.
So pick off attempt, it's okay, you can try this. Just out of snare range. I think Featherman could have stood closer to the edge of the ulti, but he was afraid of the brush. And then Perks, this is a 3v3. Nobody else is close. There's no teleport on Maokai. This is just a mistake.
Once again, the CC coming in from the H2K comp makes it difficult for you to engage on your terms. You really have to be confident in your damage output. They get the exhaust.
It's not like he was leaving from Fog of War either. He announced his arrival.
Really, was it when he swapped forms and ran at them with a hammer?
Channeling gives them an indication.
Well, small mistakes for Perks, but he will be able to pick up this blue. Well,
does it in style, you know?
Yeah. Doesn't even need to hit the shock blast.
Zoning shock blast.
Zoning.
The classic.
Says blue buff, don't you go that way.
I like the little ward setup here from H2K. Trying to pick up a Mithi, this is good.
Oh, exactly what they wanted. Flash is going to be burned. Chain CC comes in. Perks wants to commit, but they have the TP advantage. This could be good for G2. They're running forward. Realm Warp. They need some kind of CC to stop it. Expect! That had to be perfect timing on the Devour to stop anything from going down there.
Really well played. That's a fast series of events right there. Mithi with the greedy flash. You just gotta flash the tunnel, man. You know you gotta use the flash after you get knocked up. This is like support 101. Actually costs his team a lot. Costs him the teleport advantage.
How much is it going to cost Sven as Che and Jankos move down to the bottom side? There's no way the Sivir can survive on her own. Sven, spell shield's just a little bit, but what else does he have? Flash, heal. Have they overextended? Trick is here.
There is a way. He found the way to survive. Turns out Sivir is incredibly hard to kill. He still has heal available, so that's a good set of moves here. Luckily, he dodges Deadly Flourish. So it's going to be really ugly for G2 Esports.
So far, things still not going great. They were even in gold there for a moment after their plays elsewhere on the map. 1-4 still the kill score, but the more important thing is the gold lead for H2K.
Much faster paced game here as well.
You can see G2 were the team that wanted to take it slow. Now it's H2K setting the pace in all of these games.
And again, it's all these little things that make it so annoying to play against. A random tunnel here and there. Tom Kench ultimate. You always have to be on your toes, ready for unexpected arrivals.
Abyssal Voyage ready as well. They may look for the setup here. Che moves down into the brush. Mithi and Sven, no flashes.
There we go.
We hear the Yomus start up. They're going to need to find a way out of this one. They have to dodge the Deadly Flourish. Mithi's going to give his life for his 80 carry. But just mispositioned in the end.
And that's it's all going back to that gank level 3 from Jankos. If you keep your bot lane competitive so they don't lose their turret, you could actually punish them later on when the opposing bot lane pushes to that. That's what they're doing beautifully here with the use of Abyssal Voyage over and over again. Really good synergy, I feel, between support and jungler so far for H2K.
Almost an immaculate performance. Very few mistakes coming in this early game. The one death on Odoamne.
Yeah, H2K almost set up here.
I mean,
perfect game.
Please, mercy.
No, G2 have Dragon.
and a kill.
Yeah, and a kill.
Of course, the one good news or piece of news for G2 is that Sven is relatively comfortable to continue clearing out these waves. And
he's farm. Yeah. And he has a much better scaling build. He's not running lethality, so he's ahead in CS versus lethality user, which is great. Mithi is sacrificial lamb right here. And it's like, I could heal you, bro, but let's face it, you're dead.
Also have a spell shield, but a noble gesture either way coming in from Mithi. Someone had to die for the mistakes of G2, and this time around it was Mithi once again. And Trick going to get yet another Ocean Drake, and this is solid for G2, but definitely not the Drake that they are going to want to help them win the game.
I mean, it is a strong early game Drake. If you have a few skirmishes and you back off and somehow reset the play, Ocean can mean the difference between having to base and actually rotate for an objective. So early game is one of the stronger ones.
And the person we see benefiting the most from this right now is Expect. CS lead balancing out. Odoamne is still pressure because of the nature of his wave clear, but Expect can take those small skirmishes.
Yeah, G2 lost their teleport advantage for a brief moment. Obviously, when they tried to match, capitalize on their own advantage. And now Expect will almost have teleport, and that's when G2 can start forcing things.
Now I'm curious, Crapo. You said in game one, You know Mithy, you know him as a player. When he goes 0-3, he has a tendency to go 0-5.
Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, how bad is this right now for G2?
I mean, they're taking the right steps. You saw Mithy just clear out a ward in the first brush in his lane. They cleared out another ward. They're tracking Jankos right now. The problem is they're kind of starved on vision. They need to find out where Jankos is because that influences how far they can push up on the bottom lane. They just need to be respectful.
Perkz hungry to find an advantage here. Feven just moving down to the bottom side of the map. This is four
Another
members collapsing. Mithy gonna try to flash that one in the end. Curtain call goes down. They may just try to chase him. Sven's gonna get locked up. Sven's gonna get taken down. Mithy doing his best to save. The exhaust is too late. Rumble is here, but so is the Maokai.
Teleport's also in the wrong spot, I expect. Should have been on the turret much earlier to give Sven some leeway here. Sven's really being punished for having to flash earlier.
Oh no. The dive may just come in. H2K have so much damage. Expect is caught out. Equalizer goes down. Mithy may make it out. Expect tries to use Che as a taxi. Twisted advance will save him for now, but Nuclear wants to go in. Dancing grenade, one more shot. Trick has to play careful. Does dodge the skill shot in the end. Not going to get locked up, but H2K in control.
Yeah, what a cohesive approach here from H2K. Everybody working together. First turret gold still goes to G2 Esports here. So it's not as stark as it seems. Trick needs to survive here.
It's a damage. Odoamne going to be saved in the end. Nuclear runs forward.
But the hard commit on the bottom lane over and over. But the greedy overchase actually means they do not take the turret. So this is actually a beneficial trade for G2 Esports.
Happy to have it. Top lane remains even in terms of wave push. Everything's...
Yeah, because they trade first turret for a kill. So it looks so good. Look how it starts. Even before this, there was a nice set of moves that happened on the map. But in the end, flash knockup on this Sven who doesn't have flash. He dies. But you trade enemy jungle flash. You trade both teleports. Expect eventually survives as well. There's an exhaust coming out too. And the turret survives.
Uses the ult, mitigates a lot of the damage. The Rumble Equalizer is good, but Che's just in the wrong spot. Gives Expect the way out.
Really well played.
Twisted advance.
Really well played by Expect here. Make it out. No, he ended up dying, so it's a 2-for-1. Obviously. Still though, I think G2 is really happy with the way the trade ended up overall. More because they used the summoners, and because they also took down a second turret in the bot lane that was chipped, because if the map just resets, all Sven has to do is walk up. So in the grand scheme of things, it's 2 turrets for none, and 2 kills on the side of H2K, so I think G2 is happy with this.
That feel good, but Perkz has to be careful. Flash to safety.
Jankos no longer has the flash to set up that play.
I mean, good reaction from Perkz. We were critical of Mithy earlier for not flashing the immediate CC.
Flash first, pick later.
Buff will get picked up. G2 now even in the game up against the opposition.
And there are 2 dragons up.
Infernal's the next as well, following the exact same dragon pattern from game 1. Double Ocean into the Infernal. Could be crucial for either side this time around. Multiple damage threats. 3 on each team.
Because the lanes kind of shifted form, bot lane became super long right now with the open turret. H2K elected to put Rise there. This is their variant. There's the 1-3-1, the Blade Transformers. They're confident with both things. They can play teamfight and 1-3-1. Much better than G2 can. Jace on the side lane is good though, but actually it's actually quite similar, I would say, because the Rise no longer has a Ghost. Because of the matchup, he had to go on exhaust. So I think Perkz is actually okay playing on the side lane. He obviously doesn't have flash, it is more at risk of getting caught out. That is the problem. It doesn't lie in the strength of the pick of the from G2, from Jace rather. It's more just that there isn't that massive pick potential that Tahm Kench ultimate have and that Jankos' ultimate have. That pressures Jace way harder.
Difference in globals really being the major difference in the split pushers. While they can evenly fight 1v1, evenly pressure each other, it's the impact of the team members that we're going to have to watch out for. And for right now, those team members are in the mid lane. Nuclear happy to pick up the farm, comfortable to be there once again as H2K have built basically the same composition. Put Jhin in the mid lane, put Odo on the side, Rise on the side as well.
We see a base here from G2. Both support and jungler go to base a minute before Dragon, which means they're actually willing to contest it. They're looking for a play right there. Using the targeted lockdown from Maokai, hopefully with teleport. Get a good flank.
Have to be careful though. Both top laners will have TP coming into the next fight.
And you can see how it's much easier for Sivir to duel Nuclear here on his Jhin in the mid lane for wave pressure because he has a spell shield. Previously, Nuclear was doing such a great job with Deadly Flourish to catch people over and over and over. And now H2K realized that they're losing the vision war. They're sending their support and jungler back to base, or their support at least, for far later. So G2 have momentum because they based much earlier.
Of course, the vision in the mid lane will let H2K know exactly what is happening. A bit down there as well. G2 may just go for the aggressive start here.
Where's
We're 10
Mithy
seconds
going?
out.
Why is Mithy going left side?
Putting a ward on.
They're so afraid
Baron,
of the
just in
Baron
case.
force. Yeah, because of top control team.
Oh, there they go. They'd be looking for a bit of an aggressive engage. Not going to land in the end. Out comes the ultimate. Curtain call. Connecting, but not enough.
Okay, expect this teleport to react as Odoana actually finished it. This is going to be a massive dragon fight because expect is pathing down. G2 looking to defend. Hopefully they can stall until Maokai arrives.
Perkz has the Edge of Night activated, but for how much longer the spell shield could be critical. But the team fight, we've said, they built a composition that is so strong in this circumstance.
And they're yielding. They're giving it up because they don't have the good vision set up. G2 were setting up for the dragon with half of their team, but then they realized they're playing against the comp that could technically sneak in to Baron from behind with both Rise ultimate and Top Kench ultimate. So they could actually sneak in and out totally unseen. So that's why Minty ran over to the left side of the map, put the ward down, but that broke the tactical setup from G2, allowed H2K to have the first move, and they could teleport, take down the dragon.
Yeah, forfeiting those small advantages just to ensure that they're safe on a play that they may not normally expect. Now, of course, in the top lane, Maokai free to push in, but just no threat on that tower whatsoever.
But he also used his teleport. Much earlier.
Small window now, though, due to the difference in TP cooldowns. Maybe G2 can look to exploit that, but it's so tiny. It's such a slim window of opportunity. Things...
And now it's just handing over pressure. So whoever bases yields for a bit, then he gets it again. Double control ward. Obviously, Mithy should have more than one in his inventory. He only brought one, so that actually it's a big hit to the vision, losing 2 control wards in a single brush. So G2 not as calm and collected as they would have liked to be.
Small miscommunications coming in and devastating. Now the gold is dead even, but to me, it feels like H2K are the ones in control of this game.
Because they always have the kill pressure. They always have the looming threat of picking off any G2 member with Abyssal Voyage. Che has shown that he's just really good at finding an opening. That's what's keeping G2 back as well.
Interesting, too, how things have kind of turned against G2. In Game 2, it was a lane built by the bottom lane entirely. This time around, it was Jankos with one solid aggressive gank, but Game 1, H2K felt so far behind in every play, and Games 2 and 3, they felt so far ahead.
Yep, and they're holding 45 on top side of the map. Look at where Perkz is. He's not playing bottom lane at all to match the Rise. Everyone picks up a free turret.
G2, I guess maybe hoping to bait H2K into a fight, to use a man advantage, knowing that TPs are down, knowing that Rise cannot make it, but they're not finding any opportunities.
Yeah. And it all starts again here with the top side red jungle control. H2K is not allowing G2 to walk in, similar to how Misfits last week were not allowing Fnatic to get in there. Just don't give over the vision. That's really important.
Waiting in the brush, it was amazing who tried to force it, who got aggressive, who went in, and he died for it. He paid for it with his life every time. Now, G2, they're not going to try to pay for it with their lives, but in exchange, they're not going to get anything. Small bits of poke coming out here and there. No Ocean Drakes for H2K means the poke will remain relevant, but
They got honey fruit though.
I mean, this is pretty brutal to watch. This is just slow bleed out on the side of G2, and we wanted to see if H2K could execute this 1-3-1 as they had been team fighting so much in the earlier weeks, and they're doing very well with this.
They're moving their teleport to the bottom lane. Again here, there's a brief window where Expect has teleport over his opponent. So H2K need to play with the necessary amount of respect. Once Odoana has teleport, they can put a bit more pressure on the map overall.
40 seconds remaining as that TP starts to count down. Odo has the wave cleared out.
And you see the pairing here. It's always support jungler right here to contest the vision. Really important that you back each other up. And that our slow game where it's just a pressure game right now. Both teams looking to at least get a turret top. Because once you get the top lane tower, you can push the waves much farther. You can also leave them to stack much easier so they don't naturally bounce.
Perkz doing what he can to like gain control of mid lane, maybe hoping to find an avenue where G2 can move into that jungle. But look at Shay.
I think they're going to commit three members to the top side. They're going to move into 1-1-3 formation on the side of H2K because they really want to take that low HP tier 1 top. So they can actually play around with this top wave as a pressure tool instead of just pushing it in and giving the safety of the turret to his Ven.
Good spot to be as well because Trick is on the bottom side of the map. As is Expect, the TP advantage is now gone. And if they want to commit, they will have the man advantage.
And they have river control. It's also a much safer way to approach the river from top side.
This is, I I mean, once again, super clean play coming in from H2K, and I feel like we're waiting for G2 to take that risky play because I feel like they've really run out of opportunities where they can take that guaranteed smart play as long as H2K don't slip up.
Yeah, they're still approaching a 4-item Sivir later on, though. They can always win fights.
My favorite win condition.
Especially on Sven. This guy knows exactly when to flash in. But the river control is slowly shifting over towards H2K. The next major toss-up might be the 4th dragon in the game, the Cloud one that comes up. That's where teams might shift vision from one side to the other and maybe leave Baron exposed, especially on the side of H2K. That could be a window to snowball the game. Again, you know, Rise Ultimate, Abyssal Voyage. You can get into that pit so easily.
This has to just be so frustrating for G2 to play against. They've only got the one global to back them up. They've got insane mobility between the Jace and the Sivir, but it's not global. Once they commit to a lane, they're stuck there. H2K have the luxury of going wherever they want. You've got the Realm Warp, the Abyssal Voyage, the Farm Alarm coming in from Rek'Sai, TP coming in from Ottawamne.
Yeah, just looking at them here in the studio, they're looking okay, but there's definitely some tense communication sometimes because the map is just so dark for them. There we go.
Voyage could be big. Nuclear running forward. Maybe hoping to find the captive audience. Chase on the backside is going to get the snare in the end. That's clean. They go in on Sven. The damage comes in from the Rise. The CC from Nuclear.
Beautiful opening here by Shay. And HK lineup falls up. Nuclear not afraid to stand on the front lines. Now pumps the ultimate.
Oh, Curtain Call zones him off the tower. The rest of H2K move in to take it. They may need to find a fight here, but the equalizer is up and available. Ottawamne overheats. A small window as expected goes in. Mithy's chunked out on the backside, and it's not going to be anything coming in. But Nuclear, the sharpshooter.
Snipe onto Mithy. Now 0-6 combined. The G2 bot lane. Completely unexpected here. Sven lost both summoners and still died.
Moving in, they want to hold on to this, they just cannot, and the gold lead grows for H2K. 3K and Baron is in their sights. Farm Alarm comes in, Rek'Sai is on the way. Vision's there for G2, but I don't know if they can stop it.
Yeah, and they just want to start and potentially turn. They don't even need to fully finish off this Baron and risk the steal unless Ottawamne can zone Kha'Zix. He's dueling Trick right now.
Going to on the side, Trick is going to take him down. I don't think they're going to get anything. Realm Warp to try to save it in the end. They're going to get the lockup. Febiven's in trouble. Oh, Nuclear! That's a ton of damage from Perkz, but it's the trade back and forth. Shut down as H2K back away, Baron in hand.
Ooh, Perkz almost one-shot him, but then the flash at the end buys enough time for an equal trade there. 2 for 2. It was looking like G2 could almost clean up a couple of members from H2K there. Watch this again. Like with ultimate, with shield. And there's no tank presence on this Kha'Zix picks, right? So like, Trick is so afraid. He just jumps out, leaves Sven to die almost.
I mean, you can see he goes
Exhaust
in
up
here.
in Mithy too, but it was all based on CC. It wasn't based around damage.
Drake in the picture-in-picture, going to be the small prize. Let's keep our eyes on the resident sniper here.
Finds him. Nuclear. Super well played. He should never hit. Get the turret, then they rotate. Ottawamne sacrificing himself for the greater good. Keeping Trick just busy. No, flashes maybe suboptimal, but then again a good deadly flourish, keeping Jankos away, or keeping Trick away rather.
Oh, Che.
Che actually kills him in the end too. Super clean from H2K. Really leveraging, and that you could think they could win, especially if you look before the game. Febiven over Perkz maybe. Ottawamne over Expect definitely. But Che and Nuclear over Zen and Mithy. Obviously, we need to factor in that there was a lot of pressure, and it's all due to the gank from Jankos early, and then the use of Abyssal Voyage. But still, to put the G2 Esports bot lane on a 0-6 game, after annihilating them as well and going 8 or 9-0 on the side of Nuclear game 2, and it's not precedented this season yet.
I mean, we have not seen them lose a single lane match. We've seen them go even. We've never seen them lose like this. And while we can credit Jankos for this game, last game was all Nuclear and Che, building that advantage by themselves with insanely powerful picks. This time, Jankos makes it happen, and this is so good for H2K. They have another lane they can play around, another lane that has proven their ability to carry in these games.
Another lane with good communication as well within the lane. Obviously, that's what they're working on right now, H2K. The communication from the lane to the team. But they have expanded infrastructure right now. Jankos snuck in. Sven obviously going to check that.
Decent damage coming down. Captive audience. Is it going to connect? Sven running. Phantom Banshee is going to make it easy. Has to back off, though. Has to respect the curtain call. It is available for Nuclear.
Baron buff creeps what they need. Obviously, Sivir really good at clearing them out. He needed zoning ulti here and then the aggressive.
Oh, Realm Warp.
Yeah, Realm Warp.
How many members is it going to deliver? Just the
0.
creeps.
It's actually not what you want. Gotta be careful with the placement. People often forget about that. It's actually the sickest rotation you could ever do with Realm Warp.
When you rotate the creeps in to push another tower.
Technically not a backdoor.
Ottawamne going for the 1v1. Expect actually going to start to win this one out, but Rek'Sai is on the way. Expect wants to go in. Down comes the redemption, but who's it going to be for? Heals up for H2K. Expect overstays is welcome. That's got to feel bad.
Ooh,
oh, wait.
Steal denied.
Oh, Blast Cone to get to safety. Che makes it out. He's just going to look for the Devour. Doesn't even need it. Perkz now running for his life. H2K backing off. This is so good.
Jankos getting flashback to watching Titanic. There was space for me on that Blast Cone. Why take it, Che? Obviously, Che still had Devour. He came back.
He's ready.
Rose never came back.
It's an emotional moment for us.
I've actually never watched that movie, so I only know the meme.
But yeah. The meme's better than the movie in my experience.
But yeah, Expect starts off very confident in this matchup. Ottawamne, I don't think he's baiting at this point. I think he's just finding out that he can't win the matchup as well as he thought he could. Good sidestep here, but look at the redemption steal from Mithy. Eventually being denied by Shay with another Devour. That is so close, man.
This is absolutely brutal to watch. It's so close, and they get one in the end, but so close for Perkz to being able to get in, and the burst damage he has is insane. All that lethality, the Lord Dominix. He can cut through just about anyone if he's given the opportunity.
Yep. I'm loving Chay's Tahm Kench so far. It's really fun to watch him play both in a lane, with the team. Abyssal Voyage has been on point. He has had some really key Devours, saving people as well. It's actually much harder than you would think. I've been told that when the Fisher plays with Dracos, it's actually impossible to get Dracos to devour anything except creeps.
I devoured our feeding Yasuo like every fight, which was a mistake because then the moment I do that, Deficio decided to run face first into the enemy team.
It's a different story than I've been told, but let's just agree that Devour is really hard to use well.
I have Deficio bound now. He's WP. P always picks up Deficio. Haven't gotten the opportunity to use it. It's a sad luck. One day. I don't think he'll play with me anymore. But Shay, wondering if he's going to continue to get this Tahm Kench. Nuclear taking a big chunk of poke, but not going to matter too much. Now, next Dragon, Elder coming up. Baron, of course, the other big objective. Can G2 trade 1-for-1? Can they look for the fight?
And they need to look to trade, because if they try and defend one, they might get faked out, especially with the amount of globals here on H2K. Because you can hold the Nasher maybe, 3 members around, suddenly they sneak off, they do 2-man Dragon, and they're back instantly, with the Realm Warp, with the Abyssal Voyage. So the power of these kind of pseudo-global tools in this draft from H2K, they've really been showing in this game.
Just huge.
So many pickoffs started with it. So many objectives were zoned. So many times Sven and Mithy wanted to push, but they couldn't because of the threat of pickoffs.
And you see those fights where On the Hunt comes and Expect is on the front line, and then Realm Warp appears.
Yep.
And suddenly they're all running. It goes from aggressive G2 to running G2, and we're going to see it again. Power comes in. Don't want to overstep. Curtain call. Making sure the G2 can't follow up.
Expect's here now. He's ready to tank. He's ready to do his job. Take the bullet. No, Mithy. He wants to support.
It's not for you.
Let him support. He's just testing his health bar. Does it still work? Yes.
Doesn't ult do 50% of your health? Yes. H2K trying to find the flank. Che running forward.
Yeah, they're setting up the Elder right now because they know they can always get the Baron.
Oh, Bevan knocked low.
Bevan, poke. This could be it.
Oceans are here for G2, so they're healing up. Oh, he wants to go in. Nuclear may fall down here. Perkz is on the backside, moving forward. Already used all of his cooldowns. Realm Warp coming in. He swaps forms. He looks to run. Oh,
Nuclear
that's
again.
So good! He should have died on the backside, but it just doesn't happen, and Perkz is the one to go down. G2 gain control of the pit, but they lose in the 1-for-1.
But still a good opener from Perkz. He did exactly what he needed to do there. He poked out Feven, and then he dueled the other carry. Ended up trading 1-for-1. But in essence, all that mattered is that H2K was choked out and poked out a lane, and now they can get an Elder here and neutralize the map lead. H2K looking for a reactionary Nasher instead.
Ooh. Perkz paves the path to Elder with damage.
Oh, there's teleport from Expect. This may be a very greedy call because there's actually nobody tanking the Nasher. Ottawamne is so low.
Getting low. They have 4-second recall times, but expect here. It's the flank. Can he live long enough to get the team into the back lines? He's moving in. The true damage burn going down. Trick goes in. He gets the reset. It's the bounce house. 2 down. Jankos wants to run, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Mythy lands the snare. H2K. It's the greedy play we see every time, and it counts against him.
Yeah, but here's Curtain Call comes out. 1-shot, 2-shot. Jankos goes down in the end. There's 1 buff remaining on H2K. Was it worth it for them? We need to see what they do with this 1 Baron buff, but it's so hard to use it because you're playing against Sivir, full physical damage against creeps.
So solid to have in the end, too. The BF sword coming out, Sivir getting closer to that 4 items. We'll look back on Perk's performance.
I mean, this is good. Steps in, gets a nuclear, gets a duel. The interrupt from Jankos actually prevents the damage from triggering on nuclear because his flash was technically too late. He then pulls away 3 members of Flash and a Jin W on him, so Perks definitely did his job in his team fight. It nets G2 the Elder, and then there's the call to go to the Nasher. It's a little slow. It's just so risky to do that.
On the hunt burn makes for it may not be the pseudo global, but it does make for a faster approach. Spect in the end trades his life for this, but it's the power of Kha'Zix. You give those low health bars up, he just gets to reset everywhere.
Yeah, good target selection here. Prepping the trampoline. Rise goes down. Then Rumble goes down. Then eventually Kha'Zix goes down. Good shield by Mythy. And both these teams are thinking exactly that. Was it worth it?
I mean, the shaking hand, I mean, that's how I feel watching that play, because it's just such a close call. I mean, if you get it and you keep your lineup, you pretty much win the game, but
the map is slowly tilting over to G2. Sivir on 4 items with lifesteal.
Oh no, they're going in on Sven. They want to burn everything. They need the body block. Trick leaping in to make sure that he's safe. The full front line is there. Now trying to turn their attention to Trick. Sven has to be ready to run in. Expect has to run out here.
Survives Perks looking for poke. Looking for more. Look at Sven. He was 10% just now, but he's just life-stealing up. Warlords and Vampiric Scepter here.
Warlords, Vampiric Scepter. It looks like an elixir as well. So much lifesteal.
And now, Equalizer's been used. Pistol Void's available, but there's no point getting behind the G2 lineup if they're already grouped and not getting picked off. They're sieging into the remaining Baron buff here, but G2 scaling to late game.
And there's no curtain call here either. Without the Equalizer, it means you're gonna have to fight the Sivir face to face if you want to take her down, and that is a terrifying prospect.
Just so much damage from Boomerang Blades and Ricochet. So hard for Nuclear to deal with. So H2K again, they need to look for a pick, an opening when G2 is split. Make the map big, 1-3-1 again.
They have TP advantage currently.
A massive wave in the bot lane, which means they actually have time to push out the top lane a bit faster.
Next Dragon, of course, Elder, we're a long way away from both of our major objectives.
And vision dwindles. Sports have very limited amount of wards to place, and they don't even have access to get to the good points where you want to place them, because you have so much risk of getting picked off, especially if you're Mythy. Not due to his history of playing, the comp he's playing against.
Absolutely. Now, at this point, the map feels very even, and while there is this 3K gold lead, it feels like really the only advantage H2K has is this Infernal Drake in terms of scaling. The Baron buff on Nuclear as well.
They have a late game Rise, and they still have an 80 carry in the late game, so it's just...
Oh, on
G2
the hunt, running in. Maokai delivered. Nuclear caught out in the back line, but they're looking for the Equalizer to get the disengage. Expects on the front line, but there's no other damage. Jankos gets cut down. Odoamne maybe next. Lead through. The fight resets. A brief moment. The curtain call, but who is going to fall in the end? Trick looking for a way into the back line. Expect maybe going to give his life. Exhaust down onto Sven. Trick goes in. Trick may get taken out. Health bars go up. Trick leaps to dodge to safety. Realm Orb to take out the rest of the team.
So much happened in that fight. I think there was actually a really smart flash from Sven, hoping to dodge the 4th bullet if it came his way, knowing he couldn't react in time. I think he flashed sideways. Inside track is open to mid lane right now. Trick also surviving. Expect did a fantastic job buying time for his team as well. Super fight on the edge.
Cutting the carries out of the team fights. Odo the only one allowed into the back lines. Febivin and Nuclear zoned so perfectly.
All right, so it's pulling the trigger. Sivir ultimate comes out. Because Che is actually, again, Che is trying to ward, but his team gets punished super hard because he's not in time to go there. Jankos drops immediately. Expect this GA. Let's track Sven here. What he does, so he's 1 spell shield. I think, yeah, he flashes out just in case the 4-shot comes his way. Has to go on Che. Pokes Febvin. The damage coming out of Sven with 1 or 2 autos here and a Q in his late game Sivir is just massive.
I I mean, this looks much better. I thought this was over just
but
5 minutes ago.
The problem is he uses flash right now, and Featherman still has flash. Nuclear still has flash. Even Che could technically stick to a target and devour, so it's going to be very hard for G2 to play the next team fight.
Yeah, Expect no longer has the luxury of the flash engage either.
No. And he lost his GA, which means he can only buy less than half the time.
G2 doing what they can to clear out the vision. This game's so very back and forth.
Look for Jankos to pick off Sven in the fights, or Perks. Because this is...
Oh no. This might be the flank. Spell Shield already burned. This is an opening. This is an opportunity for H2K.
Yeah, but H2K needs to be careful with putting too much emphasis on his dragon control.
Good poke coming in.
Because G2 can just run mid.
It's going to be what they try to do. Super's backing them up as well. Realm Warp to try to deliver them out. Nice use.
Yeah, but still, it cost them a global because they were out of position.
Deadly Flourish, Knocket connects, waiting once again, bated breath, looking for those engage opportunities. Who will pull the trigger first?
Yeah, now Mythy gets full access to enemy jungle safely to ward.
And Baron's a minute away, and there's no Elder Dragon this time.
Bases again, needs more wards.
Good vision set up. H2K have to be careful pulling in here. Until they see G2 in the lanes, they cannot approach their own jungle.
They need to play from mid, basically, so they can't play the open map style that led to picks anymore. Look at Trick as well, he's accelerating that top wave. It was stacking, but they wanted to go faster. They wanted to hit some turrets.
There's a wave in the bottom lane as well. We praised G2's wave control in game one, and it's coming through clutch here.
H2K looking for a brush pick with Che and Jankos. They're going in.
Oh, they want to get in. We're not watching the action, but we're going to get there in a second. Perks eaten up. That's devastating. In goes Trick. Is it too much? The equalizer they've left in, but Nuclear goes down. Sven is still alive, but he is getting cut through. He is going to drop. No, healed up. Still barely alive. Gets another one. Wants to go in. Trick on the front side. Perks picking off members. G2 are just too good at team fighting. Jankos is going to go down. Triple kill comes in for Sven. Bounce through on the Kazakhs. G2 cheers. H2K set to fall.
Absolutely insane target selection from G2 coming out, and Perks, he gets caught immediately, but he survives somehow, and then Sven managed to turn around that fight upside down, following with Trick helping him so well. What a massive turnaround from G2 Esports.
All came down to team fighting prowess. G2 proving themselves in the end. Beautiful execution, the inevitability of the Sivir pick, the confidence in their engages. It was a hard-fought win, but beautiful in the end. G2 take the series, moving up and remaining undefeated.
Yeah, that means a lot to them. You can definitely see it. You could hear Expect basically scream in joy before the Nexus was fallen. Trick was also ready to take off his headset. These guys, they fought tooth and nail, and they know it was close, but in the end, they bring home the victory for their organization.
It has to feel so good. Frustrating games in the early game, giving up game 2, game 3, those small kills, those small advantages. H2K finding massive leads, but playing to your win condition, playing to the late game once you lost the early game power.
I mean, I just want to watch that team fight again. I'm sure the analysts might go over it, but it was clutch. We need to see what happened to Sven in that fight, and if he could have died, if there was any outplay, because the camera was focused.
Yeah, I watched his health bar, and I was like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. He's not.
Lifesteal is Sivir.
Yeah, but the damage coming in, the massive heals.
It was a good attempt from H2K because they would lose full-blown on team fight, so they needed to open with a pick. They found Perks, one of the two strong carries, but they couldn't find Sven.
Has to feel good to end the game that way too, after struggling so much.
Yeah, this guy went 0-6 in lane, and he ended up 5-2-5, so definitely recovered really well. But still, it begs, it forces us to ask the question, are they finally beatable?
I mean, we saw it. And I feel like there's some big question marks in drafting, if it's fair to say. They set themselves up with...
I mean, not game 2. They had the winning matchup.
Very true. Questions in execution in that game.
Yeah, definitely 50 not having the best series, I think, so far. Basically telling his coach, it wasn't my fault. There's no vision. He did. If he was a good player, he would have shot it other ways. That's what we usually say. Like, a good player would have obviously predicted me to juke here. That's why I walked straight.
But a great player goes another level deep and hits you with that every time.
Every single time. No, this was definitely a good series. I'm happy with the result of the series because I was afraid that when you look at it, Perks and Featherman might go off and like may give you a very chaotic mid lane that then kind of distorts the ratings of these teams. But it's definitely good to see that G2 is playing a more macro focus. It's still working. But H2K, I see progression, especially in communication from their bot lane within their team. I think that's great to see if they can develop that even more, because their bot lane looked okay to weak in week 1. Slightly, I mean, I wasn't super impressed week 2, but then week 3 definitely a lot more. There was some good individual plays coming out. There was better communication. They were kind of given the moniker of a passive bot lane that knows how to rotate away. But like right now, they smashed Sven and Mithi in 2 games in a row. So
yeah,
very good to see.
Give them the tools to play aggressive, and they're going to play aggressive. And we saw Nuclear time and time again, not only landing the deadly flourishes, but playing the team fights well. And, you know, if it wasn't for Expect zoning in so many of those fights, 1 or 2 of those Maokai plays where he allowed Sven to roam free, allowed the rest of the damage dealers to roam free, Nuclear could have probably single-handedly carried a lot of those fights.
Yeah, and also Guts all scale, you know. Jhin late game with a lethality build versus a Sivir who builds for pure DPS, obviously will win the race.
Eventually. Late game. They got it there. But for more on that win, G2 Sven is standing by with Quick Shot.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good cast on the day. I am joined by Sven. First of all, congratulations. Let's start by talking, how do you feel after what was an incredibly tough victory?
I feel like I got carried a bit, and I don't like getting carried. I wasn't like even being 0-0-0. I was really inting 2 games in a row. Mithi and I were playing really bad this series, so it feels bad to win, like getting carried, but on the other side, it's really nice to win, even though you have a bad series. So I'm happy we won the series because it was an important series for us.
Yeah, it says a lot that the rest of the team can pick up some of the slack. What happened? I mean, Nuclear and Chase seemed to just have your Mithi's number. In game 2, it was like 2-on-2s. Game 3, there was ganks, obviously. But, you know, what went wrong?
I think in game 1 we were equal, but in game 2 I think they played the matchup better. I think MF, Syra, Varus, this kind of matchup is a skill matchup, and I think honestly they were just better in the series, or in the second game at least they were better, and we got stomped really hard, and we kind of lost that game alone just because of a bot lane, because I think that matchup we can win, but we played it really bad, so we just lost game 2 because of our lane bot. We had a draft that we were supposed to win bot lane and pressure it with Channeled, but when that lane loses, it kind of falls apart, and I think they played better in that game.
It's good to hear you talking about the strategy of how you had to win bot lane. There was a lot of discussion online about 4 ADCs in 2017. Is this a team composition that you guys had planned and practiced offline, or was it something you just debuted on stage?
I mean, we practice a lot of different things. The fact it's 4 ADCs is because of Riot's nice reworks on Graves and Corki, but we didn't really plan on playing exactly that comp, but the comp had a purpose. You know, Corki package at 8 minutes, bot has a pressure, supposedly, not in the game, but we have Channel too, so our plan was to pressure bot, win our lane, not lose it, and then have pressure with the package, with Channel, and get the bot tower, and then play from there, get Drake, you know, pressure the game from there on. But the game plan kind of falls apart when you get solo kill, like I think once in the early game, first blood included. Then we got ganked, I die afterwards, and then the tower falls, and it just got worse and worse from there on, and yeah.
When you're in games that are like that, so clearly one-sided in game 2, game 3 starts off and H2K have a fantastic advantage. How does the communication in the team change or get impacted?
I think not too much. Like we don't tilt too much from the first, like the second game. It doesn't really matter too much. Like we change side. The draft is different. Just go next game and focus on this game. And I think we had pressure both. We had a lane where I think we win really hard, and we were winning and having pressure, but we were dying to ganks and not playing our pressure correctly in terms of like mid and bot side. So we were kind of behind the early game, and we didn't really manage to get the advantage we needed in the early game because we played it wrong. But I think we had a draft where we will win early game bot lane and get the tower. But we don't play so well against Rek'Sai, as it shows from the series. We died to a lot of ganks, and they have a lot of like global ults, Tamken ult, Ryze ult, so they have a lot of like gank potential. So it's hard to play perfectly. If you don't play perfect, you get ganked and die. So I think we had the opportunity to win, but we misplayed our pressure early game. And then once it goes to late game, I think we were maybe a little bit better because they couldn't execute, and we have a severe late game, which is good team fighting, and that's just late game is just. 5 people against 5 people, and you just go mid and you just fight, and then whoever wins, you know.
Just go ham.
Yeah, we just go mid and we fight, and then whoever wins runs it down mid, and that's what happens in this game.
It definitely looked that way. I mean, you guys were near about 2,000 or 3,000 gold behind off that Baron play. Thank you so much for the honesty in terms of, you know, reviewing your own play. I want to step back from the series, look forward, right? Both group leaders won their matches today, G2 and Unicorns of Love. You guys open week 5 next Thursday. How important will it be to win that game for you and for G2?
I mean, I think it matters more just for like the ego or the confidence boost. Like there's that one point doesn't really matter if you win or lose. We still have like the first place in our group. We're sitting strong. We will get playoffs most likely anyways, right? So the match matters the most for like confidence or like feeling good about yourself. Like winning or lose doesn't really matter, but I hope we win anyways. Like winning is nice. You feel more confident, but the result is not really important.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Congratulations on the win, and I'm looking forward to next week's games. To wrap up the day, we're going to head over to the analyst desk for post-game lobby.
Thank you so much, Trevor, and also Sven, for that wonderful interview. And welcome to the post-game lobby, where we're joined by Stress and another member of G2. It is Perks. Welcome. Also, congratulations to you, of course. How does it feel?
Thank you. It feels really good. This is like the best win we got after Fnatic because the games were so close. Like, I mean, it doesn't feel good that the games were not clean, don't get me wrong, but it feels good that we won, you know, in the end after these close, chaotic games. Like, we made a comeback. I'm pretty sure we made a comeback because we were really behind. And yeah, it just feels really good to win and stay on the top.
To be exact, you were down 4.3k gold at 20, and you came back from that. Why do you think it was that H2K wasn't able to push their lead?
I don't know exactly why. It may be because we had Seer, like, like wave clear, and Jace is like a decent poke too. So I was trying my best to like just poke the Jhin, even though Jankos was really annoying of blocking it half of the times. But I think I did a good job of poking, so they couldn't really close the game out. And I don't know exactly what happened in the game because I'm still a bit shocked, you know. And but yeah, I think we played really good from behind, but our early game needs a lot of work to be worked on.
Luckily, we have the technology to show you again how you came back in the end, because you want to take a look at the final team fight. Crepo talked about it a little bit, and you know, it was getting to that point in the game where we're wondering, well, we're getting to that whoever wins this fight and runs it down mid, like Sven said. Perks, what were you thinking about this?
I mean, honestly, I saw Jhin and Ryze mid, so I thought there was no way I could die, and we saw Rumble on the board, so I really thought there was no way I could die, and then they just went on me, jumped over the wall. I'm like, the fuck, go fight, and then we won the fight in the end, and everyone was screaming and super happy and like,
Yeah, as Sven was saying in the interview, at this point, you know, we're improving, we're working towards playoffs, we're working towards getting better, so win or lose, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, does it? It does.
I mean, honestly, after the game too, when we got super stomped, I didn't even know we got stomped. Like, the game was just normal for me.
Really?
Yeah, really. Like, I was just farming my mid lane, and my support was dying maybe 10 times in the game. But then later on, I got called by some GWs, but the game was over then already, so it doesn't matter. And like, when we got stomped before, like last year, I would get like really afraid or scared or tilted, and this is like, just go next game. Shit happens, you know. We've been already since scrims, so.
Yeah, this Stress was bringing it up. Well, he didn't think that you guys would get tilted, that you guys would overcome that, and it was quite funny because you know you almost got perfect gamed.
Did we?
Yes, you gave it. You got one kill.
Really? No turrets?
No, nothing.
Nope. Actually, that would be really sad.
So you were actually getting something really hard.
That would be really sad.
Makes it all the much better that you guys were able to pull it back in game 3. And we also want to look at a couple of other things. One is this questionable decision from you, I think, Perks, is very early where you give up first blood. Actually,
this is a bot lane.
This is a bot lane, yeah. So Jankos, like he did in game 2, looked to make a very early play and punish the fact that Sven and Mithy did have the pushing lanes. When you guys are in a situation like this, what is the communication that you have to try and respond? Is this just a situation to try and claw things back, or do you, like, what goes through your mind?
I mean, honestly, before we were really bad at like cutting the losses and just trying to salvage situations. And I think this game we were trying to do the same, so it's bad because I don't think here, like, if he doesn't leave, I don't think we should try. I mean, maybe in game they could have salvaged the situation. Maybe it looked good. I didn't see in game because I'm laning, so I don't know exactly. But usually, most of the cases, if you get caught or something, you should not try to help the person. You should just let him go and get the advantages on the other side of the map.
And that is actually what happens in our next replay, but we were wondering why you found yourself in this position in the first place.
Is it when I jump in?
Yeah, it is very early in the game.
Yeah, but
so
here,
what happened?
So here, honestly, I didn't know that we didn't have TP, and they're walking to us, and everyone was saying fight, it's a good fight for us, because they're just Ryze ulting into us.
It looks great.
And here my Q deals 1k damage, so I just jump in and pray for, I mean, yeah, I should not do this, obviously, and then they just TP on us. But if they don't TP on us, I think we can fight.
And a great example here, the rest of your teammates, they don't decide to jump in again and try and turn the fight.
If you see the TP coming to you, then you just run to the hills.
There's no hills on Summer's Rift, is there?
I just wanted to quickly ask. Wait, sorry, I apologize. But we were
It
talking
wasn't
a lot
important
about.
at
We
all.
apologize. We talked a lot about mentality, and I know you made a lot of structural changes to your support staff. How much has that affected your in-game mentality and your and when you suffer such a big loss like that?
Well, honestly, I think every support stuff we added is useful, like strategic part or like teaching us about our brain, emotions, etc. I think all that is useful, but I think the most I got from myself is my experience from last year, like having sucking at Worlds has really like made me think a lot, and I don't know, it just once you like honestly, Worlds was our worst performance, you know, and getting stumped by H2K isn't nearly as bad as losing to everyone on Worlds, so. It just mine's a difference, and for me, I think I've just grown a lot, and I can handle everything right now.
It's quite interesting to get that insight. I'd love to know what you think is kind of the mindset that H2K should have, because before this series, people had doubts about their performance. They had that game versus Vitality. They lost to UOL, but then they almost beat you guys, and they gave up such a lead. Where do you think they're at right now, and how strong do you think they are?
Honestly, H2K was pretty good today. Even though I think we didn't play really good, our early game was weak, and my support was running it down a bit. But I think they're a good team, yeah. And we are going to have to step up our game big time for Unicorns, because I think our series with Unicorns is going to be really scary as of now. We also play Origin this week, yeah. So we have to not loosen our belts, you know, and focus.
I think it is good that you mentioned it's scary, because there's something else on the Rift for this game that has the potential to be very scary, and that's Nuclear and Shay. Like, coming into the split, we weren't too sure how they'd fit in with a different language, and they hadn't really, you know, shone in weeks 1 and 2, but I think now we're getting into it. They're looking very formidable as a bot lane. You heard Sven and Mythy, Sven's opinion on it. Really difficult to play against them, not only in the lane, but on the map as well. Like, they're a legit bot lane duo that every European duo has to be careful of.
Yeah, Che was crowned player of the series, win or lose in this one, because we thought that he was a consistent factor. And, I mean, I think you can only agree that that bottom lane just made a lot
to really good.
Yeah.
I think Che was really pressuring him up during the whole series, like with Zyra or with Tam. Like, he was just, we were respecting most of the time, like we were calling care Tam kill, he can move here, and that's why we come back, because we didn't like falter to their place so much. But I think he was still like pressuring them up so hard, and we just had to respect everything that he can do. So yeah, I didn't expect them to be good, but now I'm really sure that they're upgrade over the last year bottom. So,
all right.
Yeah, for sure. They're not playing in enemy turret and punishing for every creep. They actually play smart on the map, and yeah.
Is that something that you guys as a team have also been focusing on? Maybe, you know, it isn't that a super explosive G2 that we've seen last year. It just seems like you guys try and get the job done in different ways. Yeah,
I think our understanding of the meta is like good, but we are still too passive, I feel. Like last year we were like a bit aggressive, you know. In Spring Split we were really aggressive.
A little bit.
Then in Summer Split, like we were just rolling over everyone, because teams were not really good, I think, back then. And then we had to like change our mindset and our playstyle during Worlds. Like during bootcamp, we were like during the Worlds bootcamp, we put down all the basics, because we were like team for 2.5 months with 3 changes. So it was really hard for us to actually perform well, even though we were like doing pretty good in practice. But when we came back together in the January, we were actually like, it took us only 2-3 days to be completely like solid with basics, and then we started working on like more complicated macro, or like making plans for each other, and just being a really good team. As you can see, like we are not like above everyone else individually as we were like last year. That's what I think. And this year we are just, I think, better team. So we still have a lot to work on ourselves individually and ourselves as a team. So I'm just looking forward to how much can we improve for playoffs.
Yeah, and already looking in a very, very good position. And you mentioned it before, the Unicorns of Love is a matchup that you're looking forward to. And they won again today versus the Giants, a 2-0. They look really... So what's the scariest about the Unicorns of Love?
Honestly, I think everything is scary. I don't know. Like, okay, I think from what Midi told me, their support is really good. And I think their mid laner is good too. I think sometimes he's like a bit over-aggressive and can get punished easily. Like, he's a bit inconsistent, but he has really good mechanics. So like he's, yeah, I think he's really solid overall. And their top laner is really good too. And their jungler is really good too. And their AD is good too. So I don't know, they're just good players, and they fight and fight and fight and fight, and they win every fight, even 4 versus 5, 3 versus 5, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But for me, the player that I think stands out is Hylissang. You already talked a lot about how you think that he stands out as a player, and I think that Tahm Kench is a champion that I feel is becoming more and more showcasing these
Honestly,
standout
Hylissang is
support
insane.
players.
Yeah, Hylissang is really insane.
Like we've seen his thresh, we've seen his
When you play against
bugs.
his trash, you can't stand in the mid lane, or he will touch you.
Like you can hit Perks is very, very afraid of this.
He will not miss. If he flash hooks, he will not miss.
So a lot of respect is being given to this support player, and I'm really excited to see the team go up against G2 because I think it will be a close battle at the top of the table.
It's going to be super exciting. Would you say that you've changed your mind? Did you think that the Unicorns of Success early was maybe attributed to the opponents not being as well versed yet, and you had to shift?
No, I actually thought ever since the beginning, I thought Unicorns were playing good, like good meta, and they had good grasp of the meta on every role, and they were playing good meta. Like jungle was playing really smart and ganking like when his jungle camps are down, and mid lane was playing like they were playing aggressive around mid lane, and they were using like Shen aggressively, and I think they were just really good team since the beginning. And I think our games versus them, it's really gonna be interesting because I think we are either gonna get rolled over like versus H2K, or we are gonna play controlled and clean, and we're gonna win versus them then. So I think it can only go 2 ways. Or maybe the third way, only the third option is fight till whoever
Yeah,
wins.
you don't have a choice in the matter. They're going to pull you in.
Yeah, they're going to come mid level 1 and try and gank
shit,
you
yeah.
and do everything. Unicorns are very interesting because throughout their history, they've always been a team that have had deep champion pools. And again, it favors them. But right now, they're pairing good drafts with good individual play and good team play. And that is a very scary prospect. It's not clean from the Unicorns. It's not the set plays where you're cleanly getting out, but they're getting so much return from everything they put in. That's what makes them very difficult to play against. They just snowball leads very well.
My biggest criticism of the Unicorns of Love is that to me, they feel like a very reactive team. So they tend to, rather than set up plays in order for them to succeed, the enemy tries to force a play and then they turn around and punish
You don't need to
them.
react if you know you're always going in.
Well, this is it, and I wonder how that will do against a team like G2, because in my eyes, I feel that G2 are very good at setting up for objectives, and you will not leave as many windows for Unicorns to come back.
And that was the difference makers.
I think that Unicorns are actually, I mean, I haven't watched all of it again. I think the first games, they were like not really proactive. They were getting stoned by Origin early game and stuff, things like that. But right now, they look really good early game, I think. Even, okay, versus H2K, they were behind too. But today, versus Giants, they looked really good. Like, they were making plays.
Yes, they did.
And even though Giants made some plays and then trolled a bit, I think Unicorns, I don't know, maybe they look really good versus like lower tier teams because they went 2-1 against Splice and against H2K, I think.
Yes.
And so they are like maybe a bit like not as scary versus top tier teams, but versus bottom tier teams, I think like they have no chance, you know.
Yep.
They would just roll over them. So yeah.
I think the proactive players, we saw both sides of that today. We saw game 1 was very reactive. You know, you and Krepper were talking about it a lot. Game 2, with the Tahm Kench, maybe it's the pick for Hylissang that just allows them to go, okay, 5 people are coming bot now, and then just dive all over people. I think we've seen both sides of the Unicorns. I prefer the active style, but I mean, they look great right now, whatever they do.
They look
fantastic. Which is very weird that they can do whatever and they're rolling over people.
Yeah, they look fantastic, and it's also reflected in the standings. Let's take a look. After one day of cross-group competition, as we saw today, G2 Esports still reigning supreme in Group A, or the Still of Jumble, 5-0 in series wins. And then the Unicorns of Love are also 5-0. And there's a couple of teams that I want to ask Perks about. We talked about H2K, UOL, G2. I want to ask you about Fnatic specifically, and how do you think they're going to evolve? And we're also going to see them with their new jungler, Broxa, in there. How do you think that's going to change things up?
Well, for Fnatic, actually, I expected them to come in really strong. Even when we played them first game, I didn't expect us to actually win versus them, even though because we were playing really bad. Because they started practicing in November, so they had around 2 months of practice before LCS, and we had 10 days. So I thought that they were gonna come in really hot, you know. But as they have not come in hot, I still think they have good players, and they have mix of balanced team, you know, veterans and talented rookie caps. So they have good mix of team, and they can be a good team in the future for sure. But as of now, they made a jungle change already, and I don't know how good is that gonna affect them. Even though maybe Amazing didn't have the best performance every game, I still think Amazing was a pretty good jungler at pressuring. He was really good at pressuring the map and playing with pressure. And it's just gonna be interesting to see how Broxa does as a rookie who comes from Challenger Series. Even though he was pretty good in Challenger Series. So I'm looking forward to see how to do with a new player because it can like go both ways, you know.
Yeah, they're taking on Vitality. How much of a chance do they have there, Vedi?
I think it's pretty high based on what we've seen from Vitality so far. In
A lab says
particular-
more than 1,000 words.
Yeah.
We have to remember that Joko himself only fairly recently came out from Challenger,
Yeah.
and he's finding avenues to prove that he is worthy of playing on an LCS stage. But I think that there are other struggles that Vitality are currently dealing with. In particular, when you look at the bottom half of the map, it does feel like that is a part that is resulting in their limited success.
Yeah, and you know, we talk a little bit about Broxley himself. He looks solid. He looks at least to the level where he should be able to perform for Fnatic. He's got decent gauge on the meta. He plays Ivan. We saw it this week in Challenger. He plays a couple of different things. His Lee Sin's great. I think for this Fnatic lineup against Vitality, it's the right style of opponent where he can just come in, and I don't think it's too big of a challenge for them to actually put that on Brox's shoulders. I think the rest of the lineup should be way strong enough to help him through this first series.
We'll see what happens. Sven and Mythy cosplayed as the Vitality bot lane today. Maybe it's the other way around tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We'll take a look at the schedule to see the other match that we have on our slate, because the Misfits will also be taking to the stage as they take on Splice, followed by Fnatic versus Vitality. That's a good one as well. Misfits
really
versus
hyped, yeah.
Splice. Super hype matchup. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I have no clue because Splice haven't looked the best. I think that Splice will pick up their game though for this week. So Misfits versus Splice is gonna be really close. And Misfits on the other hand, already have a good grasp of the meta. Like their mid and jungle plays, their support and jungle play really good together. They're like Korean duo, you know, taking over ELCS. And their mid has been performing well too. They have a solid top laner and a solid AD carry. Like they just have overall a good team, good players, and they've been playing good as a team. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they match up against Splice.
And so far, all of the teams that you've talked about, you only seem to have praise for. And I wonder if you talked about how you felt that in summer last split, the level might not have been as high, which enabled you to steamroll everyone. What do you think of the level of Europe right now?
Honestly, I'm just praising every team because not even us is good right now. Not even we are good right now. So it's gonna be because I think actually this time around every team has like potential. Even though I think in Spring Split last year there was like Vitality, H2K, and Fnatic who was hyped, and all these three teams kind of failed. And Origin was like looking weak early too. So it's like the split was competitive, but the teams were not still good enough, you know. And on Summer Split, I think every team just downgraded. Besides like bottom tier teams, but the bottom tier teams who upgraded were still not close enough to top tier. So that like led us being on top with Splice, who just break through everything. And right now, I think every roster is like built with some sense, you know, like everyone has like good roster, and it just every team can be really good. I don't know. It's just hard to explain. I think everything can be good, and it's just going to be interesting to see in a couple of months which three teams are going to go to Worlds, because I think the top 6 is really close right now.
Yeah, advertisement for the ELCS.
There's that Perks mentality shift. It's gone from everybody's bad and joking to everybody's good.
Everyone was
great.
bad. Like last year, to be fair, everyone was bad last year.
There you go. That's the mindset. Perks on the way to building to be a billionaire. Well, earlier you asked me about if there's mountains or hills on Summoner's Rift. There's 2 giant cliffs on Saturday, unfortunately. Origin have to face H2K. Roccat have to face G2. And from the how good both of your guys' teams were today, that's 2 teams going 0-5. I'm sorry. I don't think that's the day for an upset coming through for either team.
Well, we'll see. I definitely think that the third game now that you guys played today might have been kind of the best game in terms of level we've seen, because a lot of these long drawn-out matches haven't exactly been high level. I think of a lot of like the Unicorns of Love games. Even today, they played good, but they got kind of messy in doing it.
I think that this is one of the problems that you have, that when you have a lot of high-level teams compete against each other, it becomes harder because of the amount of respect that you show to your opponent. Something that Perks was talking a lot about earlier on was how we always have to play around the Tahm Kench ultimate. Same with the Unicorns of Love. Sometimes it descends into this because you're showing so much respect to your opponent.
I actually forgot what I wanted to say. So you could just keep talking.
All
Okay.
right. Well, we're just going to quit. He doesn't know what to say. We're going to, say quits today. No, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations, hard-fought match.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck on
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday as well. There we go. Well, we'll be back tomorrow in any case at 5 p.m. Central European time. From all of us here in Berlin, thank you so much for watching, and good night.
Peace.
but no flash from Memento jungle. Oh,
Knight was coming around the corner.
What are you doing? Oh, go to big.
Oh.
Get taken down by Hiku.
It's a bit of a curse. As soon as we talk about them not dying, trading more efficiently, or Memento.
Should be able to get away
It's
from
okay.
the back.
Oh,
Sidestepping the vision, sidesteps the overload. You can't avoid the point and click CC.
Oh, he's out.
Samux is now in for the fight. Flash is over. Oh, all the shields and the heals finally gets dropped down by Hiku. The Nexus gets turned on, and the Unicorns destroy Giants.
0.
Oh, Camille on the backside, that's a nice combo. Febby knocked up, but there's so much healing. Double, triple redemption. Che is the one in trouble, and Odo doing his best to peel. Moving forward, one member down for H2K. Che could be next on the menu. Double kill for Expect.
We're safe.
Oh, that's a good shockwave. Pulls him back, knocks him down. G2, clean house.
Go to the mid, and here's Che.
Wants to go in, he's gonna get the knock of Mythy, Lamb to the slaughter. H2K going for the dive. Sven does connect the CC, but there's not enough damage. Equalizer's going down. G2 are getting burned to a crisp. In goes the Realm Warp, in goes Nuclear, and down goes Sven. TP moving in, Maokai wants to deliver him. Tom Kench says no. He's chunked out on the backside, and it's not gonna be anything coming in, but Nuclear!
Sorry.
He's moving in, the true damage burn going down. Trick goes in, he gets the reset. It's the bounce house, 2 down.
Karma maybe no flash.
Yeah,
Stay together, okay? Stay together.
Slowly, we get it.
G2 cheers, H2K set to fall.